Everyone thinks they know what's happening with Alabama recruiting. The rankings look smaller. Rival programs keep landing elite prospects. And for the first time in years, some fans are asking a question that once sounded impossible. Is Alabama falling behind? But then Kalen DeBoer made a few quiet comments that completely changed the story. Comments that almost nobody noticed. Because if he's right, the recruiting class everyone is criticizing today may actually be unfolding exactly as Alabama planned from the very beginning. The easiest way to judge a recruiting class is to count stars and commitments. That's what almost everyone does. Open the rankings. Compare Alabama with Georgia, Texas, or Ohio State. Count the names. Count the five-star prospects. Scroll through social media and assume the biggest class is automatically the best class. Simple. Maybe too simple. Because while fans were watching public commitments, Kalen DeBoer appeared to be watching something completely different. And that's where this story begins. Over the last several weeks, concern has grown across the Alabama fan base. Some recruiting analysts questioned why the Crimson Tide's class looked smaller than expected. Others pointed to rival programs building momentum. To many fans, it felt like Alabama wasn't controlling recruiting the way it had during the Nick Saban era. At first glance, that conclusion seems reasonable, until DeBoer started explaining what was actually happening. According to interviews reported by On3 and later discussed by Touchdown Alabama magazine, DeBoer said Alabama expects a smaller recruiting class because the roster has remained unusually stable. More players stayed, fewer scholarship spots opened. And when fewer positions become available, the recruiting class naturally becomes smaller. That explanation sounds almost too ordinary. But then another detail quietly entered the conversation. DeBoer acknowledged that Alabama already has silent commitments. Most fans hear that phrase without realizing how important it can be. A silent commitment is a recruit who privately tells the coaching staff he plans to commit, but delays making the announcement public. Sometimes it's about family, sometimes timing, sometimes the player simply wants to announce later. Whatever the reason, one thing becomes clear. The public doesn't always see the same recruiting class the coaching staff sees. And suddenly, another question appears. If Alabama already knows more commitments are coming, why does the current class still look incomplete? That question changes everything. Because maybe the rankings aren't telling the wrong story. Maybe they're telling an unfinished one. Recruiting has changed dramatically over the past few years. The transfer portal changed roster construction. Name, image, and likeness opportunities changed recruiting battles. Player retention became almost as valuable as signing new prospects. Today, coaches aren't simply collecting talent. They're managing an ecosystem. Every scholarship matters. Every departure matters. Every unexpected return changes the next recruiting cycle. According to recruiting analysts from On3 and recruiting databases maintained by 247 Sports, roster continuity has become one of the biggest competitive advantages in modern college football. Programs that lose more players often need much larger recruiting classes. Programs that keep their core together don't. That doesn't automatically make one strategy better than another, but it does explain why identical recruiting numbers can mean completely different things. Still, many Alabama fans remain unconvinced. And honestly, it's easy to understand why. For nearly 2 decades, Nick Saban established a standard almost impossible to match. Every February felt like another recruiting victory. Every class looked dominant. Every offseason reinforced the idea that Alabama would always finish near the very top. Now every recruiting update is measured against one of the greatest dynasties college football has ever seen. That's an impossible comparison for almost any coach, including DeBoer. But maybe that's also the wrong comparison. What if DeBoer isn't trying to recreate Saban's blueprint? What if he's quietly building his own? notice something interesting. When Alabama fans express concern, DeBoer rarely responds emotionally. Instead, he keeps returning to the same ideas: roster stability, development, fit, retention. Those aren't exciting words, they don't dominate headlines. But championship programs are often built through decisions that don't become obvious until years later. History is full of examples where recruiting classes looked ordinary before producing extraordinary results. The opposite is also true. Some highly celebrated classes never fulfilled expectations because recruiting rankings evaluate potential. Football seasons evaluate reality, and reality usually takes time. That brings us back to silent commitments. Nobody outside the building knows exactly who those players are. Recruiting insiders speculate, fans connect dots, analysts watch visits. But until those announcements become public, Alabama may know things the rest of college football doesn't, or maybe not. That's exactly what makes the story so fascinating. The uncertainty itself becomes part of the strategy. Meanwhile, Alabama continues competing in the most demanding conference in college football. Georgia isn't slowing down. Texas has entered the SEC with enormous momentum. LSU remains dangerous. Tennessee keeps pushing. Every recruiting battle feels bigger because every elite prospect now has more attractive options than ever before. Winning isn't becoming impossible. It's becoming more complicated. That complexity may explain why DeBoer seems less interested in winning every headline and more interested in winning the roster over the long term. Maybe that's why a smaller class doesn't automatically concern him. Maybe quality, fit, and retention matter more than public perception. Or maybe Alabama fans are right to worry. Only time can answer that. But here's the detail almost everyone misses. People are debating the size of the class. DeBoer appears focused on the shape of the roster. Those aren't the same thing. One measures today, the other measures tomorrow. And championship programs usually spend much more time thinking about tomorrow. So perhaps the real story isn't that Alabama has fewer public commitments. The real story is that most people may be judging an unfinished puzzle, while the coaching staff already knows what the completed picture is supposed to look like. Whether that confidence proves brilliant or misplaced will become clear on signing day and, even more importantly, on the field. Until then, every commitment, every visit, and every rumor will continue feeding one of the biggest questions surrounding Alabama football. Is Kalen DeBoer quietly building the next great Crimson Tide roster? Or are fans witnessing the first real warning sign of a new era? That's the question worth watching. What do you think? Is DeBoer playing a longer game than everyone else, or should Alabama fans already be concerned about the direction of recruiting? Share your opinion in the comments, because this debate is only getting started. If you enjoy deep stories that go beyond the headlines and explain what's really happening inside Alabama football, subscribe to the channel. And don't miss the next documentary, because the next recruiting decision could answer the question everyone is asking today.